It's clearer skies, though, to start the night, and through much of the night means it's going to turn really chilly here. Snow showers across parts of Northern Ireland, down the eastern side of England, and some snow showers pushing into parts of Wales and maybe the southwest of England. There will be some showers here. Whether or not any turn wintry, well, that's still to be seen. As we go overnight, the showers continue in areas exposed to that northerly wind, so western coasts, eastern parts, and also the northern half of Scotland. Elsewhere, staying dry with some clear skies, and as a result, temperatures really taking quite a drop. Many places falling several degrees below freezing, could get to negative double figures in the sheltered glens of Scotland. And then tomorrow, really, it's looking quite similar to today, really. The wind will have backed a little bit, so that will change where we see the showers just a touch. They may penetrate a little bit further inland across some parts of northeast England, across the North York moors. Could see snow building up to 15-25 centimetres, perhaps above 100 metres, so some significant disruption here.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you could win your Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
So many people within the armed services now can say that they owe their lives if they were, shall we say, work in the Middle East and in Afghanistan, in Iraq before that, actually owe their lives to the fact that it was dogs that they sent out to see whether or not there were explosives in a building, whether they were going through a minefield or whatever. So I think we were just talking previously, of course, Hannibal uses elephants. And there has not been a single year since the end of the Second World War when we have not had a conflict of some sort, and animals are still being used. We don't have horses used in the same way, obviously. We still had the cavalry, which is why 8 million horses were lost. Horses, donkeys and mules were lost in the First World War. But they weren't just the cavalry horses. They were the horses that were pulling the guns, that were delivering the armaments, that were carrying out the wounded. And what is interesting is, today in the 21st century, in Ukraine, who are leading the way in using drones in modern warfare, they are doing what they did in the First World War, and they're using horses, donkeys and mules to take the wounded out. The wonderful memorial that we have on Park Lane, it's there and it recognises that it was horses, dogs, donkeys, mules, and if you look, because they have individual statues of them, but if you actually look at the memorial itself, you will see pigeons. Dolphins. I mean, we know that dolphins are being used. As human beings, we share this planet with millions of other animals. And for centuries, we have used certain animals and abused them, used them and abused them, and got them into service with us.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 1 o'clock on Wednesday, November the 19th. I'm Christopher Hope.
And I'm Nana Akua.
Now, it's revealed this morning that inflation has eased for the first time in 5 months. What a relief, to 3.6% before the crunch budget. Chancellor Richard Reeves sounds pleased.
I do recognise that there's more that we need to do to tackle the cost of living challenges, and that's why one of the 3 priorities in my budget next week is to tackle the cost of living.
So, a major report from MPs warns Britain is unprepared to defend itself against attacks, with renewed threats from Russia and China, as Labour has slammed for moving at a glacial pace.
Elsewhere, 250,000 people left the UK in the year Labour were elected. Was it all their fault? We'll look at the reasons why so many of us are quitting the UK for possibly warmer climes.
Reduce VAT on private school fees from January 2025.
After that announcement in the last budget, a slew of private schools have faced devastating losses, with some shutting their doors for good. Our national reporter Jack Carson has been investigating.
And Scotland have qualified for the 2026 World Cup by beating Denmark 4-2 in an amazing game at Hampden Park last night. And I was watching. What a game. It's their first time in 30 years. Our Scotland reporter, a delighted Tony Maguire, has the latest. And the UK has been hit by the first snow of the winter. This is the view from the chopper bedroom window this morning. I filmed that myself. Am I good at that kind of thing? Please send us your pictures of the winter whiteout that started already. Look around you, send us your pictures.
That looked really choppy out there. Choppy.
It was cold. I was running to work in a snowstorm, trying to patch into a meeting about this show, and I couldn't make the mute work. I'm a complete disaster.
We could hear him.
You heard everything else.
All sorts of football and what else was going on in your life.
I was trying to buy tickets for the train. But amazing weather outside. I mean, it really felt quite Christmassy, didn't it?
Do you know, I asked Alex Burkle yesterday, or was it Saturday? Oh, anyway, I asked him, it was yesterday actually, whether it would snow. Because I said, well, will it snow in London? Will it snow down south? He went, no.
Oh, no. Well,
you're wrong, Alex.
It's not that easy. I think it was very cold up north and it hit some warm air from the south, and that's what prompted it. But it's very chilly out there also in the shops. We have got a fall, haven't we, in inflation, 3.6%. But for food, it's gone up.
Yes, well, that's
so everyone's
the thing.
stacking their fridges or planning to for Christmas.
So there's no real savings. And, you know, listening to Prime Minister's questions, it's all rumours so far about what actually is going to happen in the budget as well. And that's kind of what Keir Starmer was clinging on.
We'll come to Olivia Utley shortly on that, but it sounds to me like they're going to freeze those income tax thresholds. What Rachel Reeves said you wouldn't do at the last budget, and that's a problem for anyone on medium earnings. They'll be pulled into these higher rates.
But she also, in 2019, said that she called national insurance an increase in a tax on jobs, and a jobs tax. There's a long speech,
which it is.
45 seconds, and she said that she criticised the Conservatives, and there she is doing it herself.
Anyway, now time for the news.
Very good afternoon to you. The top story this lunchtime. The UK must step up in a far more dangerous world. The warning from Defence Secretary John Healey as he reveals a Russian spy ship is sitting on the edge of UK waters. He says the Yantar, a ship designed to map underseas cables, was tracked by the RAF and Royal Navy and even directed lasers at British pilots. Mr Healey says it's part of a wider surge in global threats, drone disruptions over Europe, more Russian incursions into NATO's airspace, and at least 90,000 cyber attacks on the UK's defence systems. In other news, the UK inflation has dipped to now its lowest level in 4 months, dropping to 3.6% as easing energy costs take the pressure off of household bills. Economists are saying that the sharper-than-expected fall puts a pre-Christmas rate cut firmly on the table, despite food prices creeping back up, especially bread, cereals and meats. The ONS says slowing gas and electricity rises were the biggest factor behind that drop, even as families are still feeling the squeeze. Police have charged a 32-year-old man with a series of new attempted murder offences linked to a recent mass stabbing on a train in Huntington. Anthony Williams from Peterborough is now facing accusations of trying to kill a 14-year-old boy, a 22-year-old man and attempting to seriously injure another, all in separate incidents across Peterborough on the same day. He's also charged with common assault on board a train between Hitching and Biddleswade, on top of the counts already authorised over the Huntington attack. Williams is due before Peterborough Magistrates Court today. A landmark Supreme Court ruling has found that the Christian-focused religious education taught in Northern Ireland's controlled primary schools is unlawful. It follows a challenge by a non-religious father after his daughter began praying at home, telling him that's what we do in school. Judges ruled the curriculum isn't objective, critical or pluralistic, backing an earlier High Court decision. It won't mean the end of RE, hymns or prayers in school, but the system will now have to change, with schools required to offer a more balanced approach to faith and belief. The Department for Education had appealed, but the High Court has now ruled against it. In Washington, both the House and the Senate have now voted to force the Justice Department to release its files on Jeffrey Epstein. Over the weekend, President Trump reversed his opposition and urged Republicans to back full disclosure. It means the Attorney General must now release all unclassified records on both Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell within just 30 days, though sensitive material can still be withheld to protect victims or active investigations. The push follows a new wave of leaked documents mentioning Donald Trump, which the White House insists show no wrongdoing. Survivors say transparency is long overdue. At least 16 people have been killed in a major wave of Russian strikes on western Ukraine, one of the deadliest attacks in months. Explosions tore through Ternopil, Lviv and parts of Kharkiv, injuring dozens, with rescuers warning many could still be trapped under the rubble. Ukrainian officials say Russia launched more than 470 drones, 47 missiles overnight, sparking fires, blackouts and a rapid response from NATO neighbours Poland and Romania, who both scrambled jets. President Zelensky, meanwhile, is travelling to Turkey today for fresh talks aimed at reviving efforts to end the war. Snow is blanketing parts of the UK today, with freezing conditions causing tricky travel and risks of delays. The Met Office has multiple yellow weather warnings for snow and ice in force today and more severe amber warnings kicking in tomorrow. Cold health alerts are also active across England until Saturday, warning of significant risks for vulnerable people. Authorities are urging everyone to keep warm, take care on the roads and check in on family, friends and neighbours. And Scotland are heading to their first World Cup in 28 years after a stunning 4-2 win over Denmark at Hampden. Fans flooded the streets as Steve Clarke's side scored twice in stoppage time, sealing top spot and a place in next summer's finals in North America. First Minister John Swinney called it a joy to watch, while manager Steve Clarke praised the fantastic Tartan Army, saying the crowd could smell magic as Scotland made history.
Feels good. I said at the start of the campaign, I felt the pressure of the nation to try to get to World Cup. So immediately that falls off your shoulders and you feel a little bit better. But what a fantastic group of players. Never give up. I've said it for a long time now about how good they are and how determined they are to be good for their country. They showed that tonight. I couldn't be happier for my players. I couldn't be happier. It's fantastic. It feels great.
Congratulations to both teams. Well, those are the latest headlines. I'll be back with you shortly. Now, though, it's over to Westminster.
Take the GBNews family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Good afternoon, Britain. 9 minutes after 1 o'clock, and it's 1 week away from the long-awaited budget, and inflation has fallen to 3.6%.
So some good news for Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, after an 18-month inflation high in September of 3.8%. But it's not all that good. So let's speak to our GBNews political correspondent, Olivia Utley, because food inflation's gone up.
Food inflation has gone up. So the fact that the headline rate has decreased a bit is obviously relatively good news. It's slowly perhaps making its way down back to the Bank of England's target of 2%. But behind that headline figure, things aren't looking quite so rosy. The headline figure is dipped because the cost of domestic energy has gone down, but the cost of food has gone up, and that's something that people will really feel in their pockets. As well as that, the UK still has the highest level of inflation in the G7. So yes, it's true what Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer have pointed out, that inflation peaked at its highest in 2022 at 11.1%. But back then, that was something that was replicated across the whole of the G7 and was, of course, in response to a number of global factors, including the war in Ukraine and the long tail of COVID. Now, the UK is a bit of an outlier. Its inflation is still very high, while other countries are going down. So it is a relief to Rachel Reeves that inflation has gone down a little bit, although slightly less than what economists were predicting. She is able to at least give a positive headline, but look a little bit beneath the surface, scratch away, and it's not quite so rosy as you might think.
Well, isn't this just a big indicator that obviously inflation is heavily linked to energy prices, and they need to get energy prices down, which is exactly the opposite of what they're doing? Even though we've had a nice little time and it's gone down a little bit, it just show them that? Why don't they get on with doing that?
Well, exactly, and that's something that Donald Trump is, the message that Donald Trump is very much pushing. There are a number of energy bosses who spoke to the Energy Select Committee a couple of months ago, and they were warning about the huge increase in energy prices, which is coming down the line. It might put pressure on Keir Starmer to remove Ed Miliband from his post, something that's been talked about for a long time now. There were rumours at the last shuffle that he was planning to replace his energy secretary. Ed Miliband is seen as very much the driving force behind the rush towards net zero. So with these inflation figures not looking quite as good as perhaps the Prime Minister would privately have hoped, there might be a little bit more pressure on him to get rid of Ed Miliband. But for now, all eyes are focused on the budget, so I don't think we can expect any big cabinet changes until after that.
And that was a big focus, wasn't it, of Prime Minister's questions? We heard Kevin Badenoch try to get the PM to say they wouldn't carry on with the freeze of income tax thresholds. That was a commitment, it seemed to be a commitment last year from Rachel Reeves. That didn't happen. It
didn't happen. I think it's a little bit hypocritical of Kemi Badenoch to try and turn the knife here, because it was the Conservatives who've been who froze income tax for a very, very long time, over their 14 years in power. A couple of weeks ago, Rachel Reeves was talking about raising the base level of income tax. Eventually, she decided that would be political suicide, and she decided also that perhaps the UK could afford not to do that. But instead, she's looking at a sort of smorgasbord of other tax raises, some smaller tax raises. We talked about a milkshake tax yesterday, and then a big part of the way to that she'll claw back some of this money to make up the £20 billion black hole is by freezing those stealth taxes. So freezing income tax, both the base rate and the higher rate, which are at £12,500 and £50,000. Now, that doesn't really make for very exciting headlines, and people will think, oh, great, my income tax isn't going up. But what happens, as you mentioned a little earlier, Chris, is that people in very ordinary jobs, the type of jobs that no one would think of as, well-paid, high-earning jobs, people like a senior nurse on a ward or a teacher in a school, may now be earning £50,000 against the backdrop of very high inflation, and those people will be dragged into paying the higher rate of income tax, which is big money for the Treasury, not so good for your average worker.
But also, it's, we'll be talking more about this in the next hour, but a lot of people, it seems, are leaving this country now. A lot of those earners are leaving, the higher earners who pay the largest portion of tax.
Well, exactly, and this is something which Rachel Reeves has got to be very, very careful about. We've already seen an exodus, which has been widely reported, of the very rich, sort of billionaires, people who are getting out of the country to avoid paying the non-dom taxes. But it now seems as though some people on just sort of regular to high incomes are getting out to avoid being dragged further into this extremely high stealth taxes. As I say, I don't think Labour can get the whole blame for this. This was something which very much started under the Conservatives. But obviously you add to these stealth taxes the idea of perhaps a mansion tax coming in at the next budget, also council tax, the threat of doubling council tax for the highest bands, that's G and H. These are rich people, but not sort of unbelievably rich people, not the incredibly wealthy, just well-off people who will possibly leave the country as a result of this budget, and that's something which Rachel Reeves cannot afford. It
seems that wealth is going to be under fire here from the Labour government. That could be what increase in council tax, maybe some extra bans as we go down, as homes get more expensive. Is that a winner, do you think, for votes?
It's something which the Chancellor can do relatively easily. The threat at the moment is doubling the council tax for bands G and H, those are the top bands, and also raising it for bands E and F. Now, in some parts of the country, you know, you would have to be living in the largest house in the county to be pulled into council tax bands G or H. But in somewhere like London, someone in a relatively average, perhaps 4-bedroom family home in a nice part of London, or even quite nice part of London, might end up being pulled into those high council tax bands. And you could genuinely end up in a situation where someone who's earning, say, £120,000, so a very, very good salary, but not disgustingly rich by London standards, with a council tax band of G or H, could be thousands and thousands of pounds worse off every year. Now, our viewers will probably think I'm not shedding many tears for people who are earning £120,000, but the danger is, of course, lots of those people run businesses. They are managers in important businesses. If they move their businesses out of this country, there will be an effect on people lower down the food chain, if you like, as well.
Or seek to avoid tax even more. Well, Olivia Utley, thank you for joining us today on Good Afternoon Britain.
Right. Let's speak to the head of advocacy and policy at Tax Justice, Caitlin Boswell. So, Caitlin, your thoughts? Is it wise for Rachel Reeves to be freezing tax thresholds? Is that the best way that she can raise money?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, so we at Tax Justice UK would be, at this budget, we're looking at the scale of inequality that this country is up against and the real issues that people are facing, paying for essentials, making ends meet. We know that record numbers of people are reliant on food aid right now. A third of children are in poverty. So we would say that the Chancellor should first and foremost be looking at taxing the huge amount of extreme wealth in this country that currently is quite an untapped resource. So we know that we have a very unfair tax system which taxes income from work at a much higher rate than income from wealth, which allows the very richest to keep getting richer while the rest of us are struggling to get by more and more. So we would say that before looking at increasing taxes for ordinary people, the Chancellor should really first look at taxing wealth more, and that can be done through reforms such as equalising the capital gains tax system with income tax, or expanding national insurance contributions to other forms of income from wealth, as well as a modest 2% tax on wealth over 10 million, which would bring in about £24 billion. So it's a significant amount of money, but crucially would also tackle wealth inequality in the long run.
Just on that issue there, Caitlin Boswell, this 2% tax on net assets worth over £10 million, that would affect 20,000 people, raising maybe 20 billion a year. But how would that work? Would it force people to avoid it? When you're that rich, people can pay for accountants to avoid them paying these levels of tax.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the kind of the detail of it would need to be really firmed up, and there's always going to be people that try and avoid paying these taxes. But that's exactly why that we think at the moment the tax system as it stands has a huge number of loopholes that are exploited by the super richest and their clever accountants and lawyers. That's exactly why we think we need a wealth tax which looks at someone's wealth in its entirety as a way to really ensure that revenue is coming in from the very richest and tackling wealth inequality. And we would have to make sure that was designed in a way that didn't allow for loopholes to be exploited. But the fact that it would only impact around 20,000 people would make it much cheaper and easier for HMRC to administer. So that would, as a result, would make it harder to avoid.
Can I just say, Caitlin, and I know you're very, very good at what you do, but I just think some of this is a little bit naive. Because in the real sense, what will happen, as is happening, is that the super wealthy will flee because they're very mobile and flexible. And also there are certain things in the argument of taxing unearned wealth that haven't been considered. For example, a house that you bought in 1 year will inflate in price. So are you going to counter in the inflation of that price before you take the tax, rather than just say, oh, well, you bought it for 30 grand, it's now £300,000, you've made £270,000. You haven't, though, have you? Because in real terms, the house has gone up with inflation. Well, and this is the problem with things like unearned wealth, as it were. And also those people have taken a risk.
Yeah, so on your first point, actually, there's been a lot of very forensic research into these reports of a so-called millionaire exodus. And this has revealed that this is in fact, very fabricated data. This hasn't happened. If you look at the figures from the Henley and Partners report, it turns out that those sensationalized media headlines were in fact based on LinkedIn profiles of where people were based and not to do with migration figures. So they've been actually disproven. And if you look at research from across the globe, really credible research shows that tax decisions are not actually the main motivator in the super rich's decisions on where they should live. We know that the vast majority of the super rich are proud to live in the UK. They're proud to pay their taxes, and this is their home. We work very closely with a group called Patriotic Millionaires UK, and they polled their members and found that 80% were supportive of a wealth tax and want to stay in the UK. And just quickly on the point about inflation, yes, the proposals that we're advocating for do take into account inflation. So capital gains tax reform would come with an investment allowance, which would mean that people are not being unnecessarily taxed as a result of inflation.
OK, you mentioned Henley and Partners. They, of course, would dispute what you say there. They would stand by their reporting. But thank you for joining us today, Caitlin Boswell.
Thank you, Caitlin. Interesting. Yeah, you know what? I was with somebody who's super wealthy, like one of the super rich, who was launching a new movie, and they're planning to flee. And I know many of them who are leaving. And I just think, I'm not sure where this research is coming from.
Because you lose so much money in tax, don't you, Nana? That's
exactly.
Probably...
I'm talking to people, everyday people who are leaving, so I don't know where they're getting that from.
OK.
All right, well, now it's time for the Great British Giveaway.
Yes,
2 weeks
earn
left.
some money.
Yes, £40,000. It's tax-free as well. You've got some goodies there, GB News, a festive goodie bag. You don't want to miss out. Here are the details.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you could win your Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash so you can have a brilliant new year. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, the decorations, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. And the best news? You'll get it all in time for the big day. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB 17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 8th of December. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Thank you. Now, lots more coming up on today's show.
Yes, a shocking new report has found that 1 in 5 middle-aged women, that would be me, probably heading towards the other side, is depressed. What on earth is behind that?
All of that and more, of course, you're with GB News, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Just went for an insurance check. You know, in our business, you have to have a check before you do any new program, so you don't drop down dead on the program. And it was all very relaxed, as always, chatting with the doctor and all that. And then he phoned me up the next day and said, "Well, it's slightly worrying. Your PSA is a bit high." I said, "What does that mean?" And he said, "Well, it measures the levels of the potential antigens for prostate cancer that you've got." He said, "You'll have to go to a specialist." I went to the specialist and he said, "Yes, you have got very early stages of the indications of prostate cancer." And of course, it felt like my life had collapsed immediately. You know, I was writing the will, I was doing everything. Well, the reality is he was quite cheery about it. He said, "Look, you're likely to die with this. You're not going to die of it, provided that we keep an eye on it all the time, make sure it doesn't flare up. And so ever since then, this, what I thought was going to be this terrible thing 12 years ago, all it means is that every 4 or 6 months, I have to get a check. That's all. But the good news is, and I've been listening to you for the last 20 minutes thinking, oh my God, what a terrible world we're living in. Everything's wrong. I have a great Christmas message for you. Hold on to your seats. If you want to have a check for prostate cancer, you no longer have to have a finger up your bum. Yes! Isn't that the best thing you've heard all day?
Well, that is, but it's funny that we laugh about it, and so we should really, but that is the big obstacle, isn't it? It's the one thing that puts people off.
Yeah, well, it's gone. It's floated away. Those fingers have floated up to the heavens. All you need to do now is have one of those tiny little blood tests, you know, pinprick in your arm, and they go away and check it and make sure you're all right.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. 26 minutes after 1 o'clock. Welcome back. As ever, send us your thoughts, post your comments by visiting gbnews.com/your say. Now, we've had this comment from Alex. He said, I love Nana and Chris together. What a great presenting duo.
Oh, Alex, that's very kind. I love being with Nana. It's great to be here with Nana. Thank you. Now, there's a brand new way to be like Alex, be a friend of GB News for free. Take a look at this advert.
Join the community and be part of our shows by becoming a friend of GB News. Get a direct line to join the conversations that you hear us talking about every day in our programmes by commenting on Your Say and voting in You Decide polls. Access opinion, analysis and behind-the-scenes videos as we share more from the stories that you see on TV and radio. Plus, watch our shows live and on catch-up anywhere, anytime. If you love our channel, become a friend of GB News for free by scanning the QR code or going to gbnews.com/friend. Don't just watch our programmes, come and be a part of them.
And why not be our friend? Do sign up. Now, a new study has found that 1 in 5 middle-aged women is suffering from depression, with symptoms being most prevalent in those from lower-income households.
Now, all of this is from the Institute for Fiscal Studies, and it said that 21% of women aged 55 to 64, oh, that's not me, have experienced depressive symptoms in the last year. I'm they've just missed me on this, where they're described as feelings of not enjoying life, loneliness and sadness.
With this figure being up to 15% from the mid-2010s, why has there been such a surge in middle-aged women suffering from depression?
Well, joining us now is psychologist and agony aunt at drpam.co.uk, Pam Spur. Now, Pam, what's going on? What's happening? Is it because women are splitting from partners and then being on their own, or what's going on?
Well, good afternoon. That's one of the things, certainly. There's a whole mix of things. Firstly, the economic system. It's no surprise that women from lower incomes are experiencing more depression, but it's across the board. I hear constantly from this age group on my website, where they can email me, about this very issue of feeling depressed. Now, there's a big mix of things. Besides the economics, of course, this is the age group who are juggling work with children or even grandchildren, as I do, juggle work with grandchildren. They also have elderly parents to care for, and we know how terrible the care system is for our elders. And they're also doing things like spending a lot of time on social media. And social media is never the place to enhance your mood. It really scrambles the brain. And you see so many people who seem to be having glorious lives. And of course, you just get a snapshot of their life.
Yeah.
But it can leave people feeling, there are actual studies that show women come off social media feeling much lower in mood and much more anxious.
Yeah. I think that's across all generations. But Pam, you mentioned now the experience of people, women aged 55 and 64. They're squeezed by children, maybe adult children by that point, parents, of course, to look after. So why are they lonely if they're so busy?
Well, you can be lonely when you're busy. You can be lonely in a marriage. As Nana said, there's a high rate of divorce in this age group. In fact, the over 55s have the highest rate of divorce right now. And a lot of women are finding the grass isn't greener when they maybe leave a dull or maybe very unhappy marriage, but they find the grass is not greener. It's really hard out there dating. So there's this whole mix of sort of pressures they're under. And, they do things like, and a lot of people who talk to me in my work about this, they're eating poorly. They're snacking to keep going. That does not help mood. Eating sugary drinks or having excess caffeine means your mood goes up and down. They also are having poor sleep hygiene. They're not turning off their tech an hour before bedtime and things like that. They are also saying yes. We women have to stop saying yes when people say, can you do this for me? Can you do this extra project? You need to practice saying, no, I'm sorry, I can't do it for you this time, with a smile, and just set your boundaries, because do not be a yes person if you're feeling depressed.
Pam, do you think the menopause has anything to do with it here? Because this will be when many people may have already gone through it or are still going through it, and then your body sort of goes through an interesting change, your skin and everything, sort of the way you see yourself, and also when you're young, you get the men looking at you and everything. But then when you're older, sometimes you're not getting that attention that you used to when you were younger.
Yes, excellent question. I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to bring up medical issues was one of my other points. Because not only are women going through the menopause, or as you say, perimenopause in this age group, they are also experiencing more health conditions because we're getting older anyway in that age group. Yep. And if you add that poor diet that I mentioned, or using comfort food to get you through the day, instead of having proper fresh food, and you're not sleeping well, and you've got health issues, it all compounds onto your mood. We cannot separate our mind from our body. So if our body is going through all these changes, which some women find very difficult, then it is going to impact your mood.
So, Pam, just finally, your quick advice to our viewers and listeners watching this, apart from saying no when asked to do things, or at least pause and say, is it in my best interest? What else? What's your advice for them now?
Well, I'd say definitely do not keep depressed mood from your GP. GP is first port of call. Share it with your family. Share it with trusted friends. When you share this problem, it's true, the old saying, the problem shared is a problem halved. Also, check your sleep routine. Make sure you're not having sugary things after meal times. Don't have coffee after 3 p.m. Do make sure you turn off tech at least an hour. They say 90 minutes really is the best before bedtime. So don't go clicking through X and, at 9:30 at night. Also, like me, I take a day or 2 days off from X occasionally. That's my only social media. It's really good to get in the habit of just saying, no, I don't have to be on there today. No one needs to hear from me. And make sure you get out and have some me time. Get out for a walk.
Stop it now. Especially before I get into my bed, I get in, I think,
a 2-day break from Twitter.
You've got to be careful as well, because if you go on YouTube, watch out for the algorithm. Because I've been, unfortunately, I don't know how it happened, but I seem to be on shark attacks and people have been eaten by them. It's not good, but they keep sending me. Pam, we've got to leave it there, but thank you so much.
This is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Lots more coming up on today's show.
Yes, following last year's budget, over 50 private schools have closed their doors. Our reporter Jack Carson has been investigating.
All of that and much more after your latest news headlines.
Very good afternoon to you. Just after 1:30, the top story this lunchtime. The UK must step up to a more dangerous world, John Healey says, revealing a Russian spy ship has been sitting on the edge of UK waters. The Yantar, designed to map undersea cables, allegedly shone lasers at RAF pilots amid rising incursions, drone disruptions and 90,000 cyber attacks on UK systems. Inflation has dipped to 3.6%. That's the last reading before next week's budget. Rachel Reeves says it's good news, but the Conservatives accuse Labour of fuelling higher prices. That comes as opposition parties and campaign groups are urging Rachel Reeves to target the wealthy instead of broad tax rises in her budget. The Chancellor is reportedly considering higher property taxes on the most valuable homes. UK Supreme Court has ruled that Christian-focused religious education in Northern Ireland's controlled schools is unlawful. Justices upheld a father and daughter's challenge, saying the current syllabus breaches human rights by failing to be objective, critical or pluralist. The death toll in Ukraine has now risen to at least 19 after one of Russia's deadliest attacks in months. Ukraine says more than 470 drones caused fires and blackouts as Zelensky heads to Turkey for fresh peace talks. And Scotland are heading to their first World Cup in 28 years after a dramatic 4-2 win over Denmark. Captain Andy Robertson called it one of the greatest nights of his life. Wales keeps their hopes alive, though, after smashing North Macedonia 7-1. Those are the latest headlines. Now it's back to Chris and Nana.
Thank you, Sam. 35 minutes after 1 o'clock. This is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News, Britain's #1 news channel. Lots more coming up on today's show.
Scotland have brilliantly qualified for their first World Cup in nearly 30 years. We'll be heading north of the border and speaking to our reporter, a very delighted Tony Maguire. But after the break...
A major report has warned that Britain is not ready for war. We'll be joined by the Chair of Defence Committee, Ty Desi, after the break.
All of that more to come. You're with GB News with Chris and Nana on Britain's news channel, Britain's #1 channel.
That's right, news channel.
Hello again, very good day to you. This is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. More wintry weather to come as we go through the rest of today and also into tomorrow. Plenty of snow showers in areas exposed to some brisk northerly winds which are dragging Arctic air across us. No wonder it is so chilly out there at the moment. There was some wetter wintry weather across southern parts this morning. That's now clearing away towards the southeast, and otherwise really it is a case of areas exposed to that northerly wind seeing further showers, and these readily falling as snow across parts of northern Scotland, even some parts of northern England. Further south, anything wintry likely to be confined to higher ground. Many inland areas actually staying largely dry, but it is cold for all of us. Temperatures several degrees below average for the time of year, and there's a biting wind as well, which is going to make it feel even colder. Into this evening, and watch out for snow accumulations really building up across the northern half of Scotland as those showers continue to pile in. Drier across central southern parts, clearer skies though to start the night, and through much of the night means it's going to turn really chilly here. Snow showers across parts of Northern Ireland, down the eastern side of England, and some snow showers pushing into parts of Wales and maybe the southwest of England. There will be some showers here. Whether or not any turn wintry, well, that's still to be seen. As we go overnight, the showers continue in areas exposed to that northerly wind, so western coasts, eastern parts, and also the northern half of Scotland. Elsewhere, staying dry with some clear skies, and as a result, temperatures really taking quite a drop. Many places falling several degrees below freezing, could get to negative double figures in the sheltered glens of Scotland. And then tomorrow, really, it's looking quite similar to today, really. The wind will have backed a little bit, so that will change where we see the showers just a touch. They may penetrate a little bit further inland across some parts of northeast England, across the North York Moors. We could see snow building up to 15-25 centimetres, perhaps above 100 metres, so some significant disruption here.
Thank you, Britain, for making us the fastest growing news website in the UK. We're truly humbled, and we couldn't have done it without you.
Good afternoon, this is the latest AI travel news from GBNews.com. Adverse weather conditions have closed the A939 at the Tomintoul Snowgate. Drivers on the A55 should note a 30-mile-per-hour restriction on Britannia Bridge. On Suffolk's A11 southbound, traffic slows due to a closed lane from a breakdown. Swindon's A419 northbound faces partial closures causing congestion. Travellers on West Sussex's A27 eastbound face a 10-minute delay. And on the trains, there are disruptions on the Elizabeth line between London Paddington and Heathrow terminals, and interruptions on the Heathrow Express. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Now, what a game last night,
I was
Nana.
still in shock.
Scotland beat Denmark 4-2.
I know.
I was watching it at home. I was cheering from the sofa. You see, England fans are welcoming of Scotland's success.
But it wouldn't be the other way around, I don't
Oddly,
think.
it's not the... Now, why is that, viewers? Why, listeners, why don't Scots rejoice in England's success? Because I personally did rejoice last night for Scotland.
Well, I love Scotland. I mean, it's so beautiful, isn't it? Like, it is literally the jewel in the crown, I think, of the United Kingdom. Apart from Wales is also very beautiful as well, to be fair. But Scotland...
Oh, my... But
oh, isn't it lovely? The bridges, the walks,
but the
air...
The football, Nana, I mean, Denmark were a probable favourite, or certainly to go through, but the three of the 4 goals were goals of the season. An overhead kick by Scott McTominay. By the end, Kenny McLean shot from inside his own half over the goalkeeper, Kasper Schmeichel, who also is goalie, I think, for the Scottish team too. I mean, it was unbelievable.
I must go back and have a look at all of that.
You must watch it, because that is why sport's amazing, because it wasn't meant to happen this way, and it's great for the Scots.
Oh, you see, I was at a film premiere of Caprice's new film.
How was that? Who won?
No, it was the film.
But who won, though? Caprice?
Who won the film?
2-0 to Caprice?
Of course she won. She's superb, honestly. I think it's Christmas
As we're saying, Scotland are through...
Scotland as well, I think.
Was it? Scotland are through to the Men's World Cup final for the first time in 28 years.
Yes, no, her film was called A Scottish Christmas Secret.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Oh, right.
It's in Scotland.
And it was lovely.
It was lovely. Yes, of course, because fans celebrated Scotland's victory against Denmark after they won 4-2 in a glorious qualifier.
Let's speak to delighted GBNews Scotland reporter Tony Maguire. Tony, is your hangover over?
Yeah, good afternoon. I think there's certainly a bit of a national shortage of anodyne extra up in Scotland today. There's a lot of sore heads, no doubt, making it into the office this morning. But first of all, a little right to reply, if you don't mind. We do celebrate England's successes, and I think this year in particular, there's a very real chance that all 4 UK nations are going to make it to the World Cup. That is certainly worth celebrating, as is Wales's incredible 7-1 victory. But I digress. This is Scotland's day. Let's celebrate my home country. 4-2 in a really, honestly, remarkable show over at Hampden last night. It was, I love a roller coaster, but even last night, it's safe to say, was a little bit too much for me. And as you were just talking about there, some of those goals were really so spectacular, uncharacteristic, I think I would say. And this is the first time in 28 years we're going to be making it to the World Cup. I was 10, where my World Cup ambitions back in 1998 were filling out my Panini sticker album as we traded stickers in the playground. So it's going to be a whole new experience for me. And indeed, I've been talking to people on the streets of Glasgow today, just getting some of their reaction and their feelings as after that momentous victory last night. Did you watch the game?
I watched the game, yeah.
And did you have a favourite goal?
I thought they were all good. I thought Kenny McLean's was good at the very end. I thought that just sealed it because we were under pressure.
By that time I thought, oh, we're through. It can't go on any longer. You know, the 8th minute of the 6 added minutes.
Scotland going back to the World Cup.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, is that all you've got? Yeah. Come on now.
There's always that anticipation, but for Scotland to actually do it, but in typical Scotland manner, they do it in the added on time at the end of the game.
So if they've improved from the Euros compared to last time, I mean, hopefully there's a benefit to Scotland. Hopefully they can get through to the knockout stages.
Absolutely tremendous. I watched the game last night. It was fabulous. I don't think anybody expected that result, but yeah, absolutely over the moon. Can't believe we've done it.
So look, I don't want to cut our victory short or anything. This is very much still in the celebration phase, but you know, some might say we've been here before. When it was the Euros a couple of years ago, we were first to qualify, and if I'm not mistaken, we were the first to get booted out as well. So next year, USA, Canada and Mexico, Tartan Army have to take it slow and steady, because certainly this is a huge opportunity, and there's 6 million people up here, and as you just said, many more further afield. They're going to want to savour every single minute of it.
Is it the same guy that's managing it there? Is it Stephen Clarke? Isn't he? He's the manager for Scotland. He's going to step aside in 2026. But what's changed then? Because, you know, they're not really They're not winning much. They've not won much, have they, Scotland?
Yeah, I mean, I say we don't have a penchant for victory, you might say. In fact, we might say we actually operate better as underdogs. And certainly that's what makes last night kind of like so... you know, and some will say that it didn't take them by surprise, but let's face it, I think it's taken all of us by surprise, the quality of the performance.
Thank you there, Tony Maguire, GB News' Scotland reporter. And I remember vividly We Have a Dream, which was the 1982 World Cup song by B.A. Robertson. It was unbelievable.
Can you sing a bit to give me a
We have dreams come true in Bonnie, Scotland. I'll score a winning goal for you. I remember it was my favourite one. Anyway, we're going away to have a break now, I think. That's right.
Yes, lovely. Right, this is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Lots more coming up on today's show.
Major reporters warned that Voice of Britain is not ready for war. We'll be joined by the chair of the Defence Committee, Tan Desai, after this break.
But first, if you are in search of some holiday sun and fancy popping off to Europe, and here are some destinations.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're looking to escape the cold weather in the UK, your best bet is Greece, where it will be warmer than average, albeit with some heavy showers. Cold, meanwhile, across Iberia, and that's because the same northerly winds affecting the UK over the next few days will bring colder than average weather to Spain, to Portugal. Just 9 degrees there in Barcelona. A band of rain through the Balearics into Italy, as well as parts of Greece. This actually intensifies during Friday and the weekend with some very wet weather across Central Europe.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
I'm Michelle Dewberry. This is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here. GB News, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates,
lively conversation,
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
and each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. Now, a new report has warned that Britain is not ready to defend itself from attack as threats from China and Russia continue to grow.
The Commons Defence Committee said that Labour has moved at a glacial pace and fails to meet its NATO defence obligations to maintain the UK's capacity to resist an armed attack, with the committee's chairman, Tan Desi, warning MPs that they could not bury their heads in the sand.
Well, I'm pleased to say that Tam Desi joins us now. Now, Tam, talk about this committee and what they've reported.
Thank you very much, Nana. Well, look, our House of Commons Defence Committee is a cross-party committee of 11 parliamentarians directly elected by MPs, and we have been working in a very detailed, comprehensive manner into our inquiry entitled UK's Contribution to European Security. And what we discovered through various evidence sessions, through academics, experts, military men and women, is that it's abundantly clear that we are not in any state of readiness, as can be described, and also that we are not actually complying with our NATO obligations under Treaty 3, under Article 3, to ensure that we are able to develop and maintain capabilities in the event of an armed attack. So that's why the committee, detailed out various places where we thought that we're moving at a glacial pace. And when you referred to the committee saying that the government has been moving at a glacial pace, is, for example, if you look at the Home Defence Programme. Now, that was a set of work that should have been completed more than a year ago. Unfortunately, that's still ongoing. And we've seen for more than a decade the hollowing out of defence.
Yeah.
And it's good that now there are agreed NATO targets, that we've got some sort of movement towards where we need to be, but it's still too slow.
Yeah, Tan, in the report you're saying there we must get less reliant on America because we don't know, frankly, what Donald Trump will say from one day to the next about commitment to Europe defence. Also, noting here in your report, engaging the public in defence to understand what is their role, what's our views and listeners' role in it. Are you going towards recommending a return of national service of some sort or a home guard?
No, we're definitely not towards national service. That's not one of our recommendations. But, Chris, you're right to highlight these points, and I do want to discuss those. Well, firstly, with regards to our over-reliance in Europe on US capabilities. And when the Defence Committee visited the US, who are, by the way, our closest, most trusted ally, what is abundantly clear is that they see that their two primary priorities are, firstly, homeland defence, namely of the US, and secondly is the Indo-Pacific tilt. So with that intent of a reduced presence in Europe, it's important that the UK works with other European NATO partners to increase our own capabilities. We need to increase that interoperability and interchangeability. So basically what it means is that our kit should be able to be interchangeable, that soldiers or from the UK, that they should be able to operate other nations' kit, and there should be fewer variations of different brands of kit that are out there as well. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Also, it's about mobilising the defence industrial base. At present, the defence industry, they've been saying for years that, look, that clear signals are not there. So in order to increase that resilience, it's important that actually happens as well. So there's a lot for us to do, and I just hope that the government is able to initiate that national conversation, Chris, that you mentioned as well. Okay. And the reason why we said that it's important to do that, it's not just that the fact that the Defence Committee needs to be debating this, but the public need to be aware about the increased threats, as well as their role within defence.
So important.
Thank you very much.
OK, now the Defence Secretary John Healey for the government has said this: we are making defence an engine of growth, unambiguously backing British jobs and British skills as we make the UK better, ready to fight and better able to deter future conflicts. This is the path that delivers national and economic security.
Right, well, this is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Lots more coming up on today's show, so do not go anywhere. But first, let's take a look at your weather with Alex Burkill.
It's cold.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again, very good day to you. This is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. More wintry weather to come as we go through the rest of today and also into tomorrow. Plenty of snow showers in areas exposed to some brisk northerly winds which are dragging Arctic air across us. No wonder it is so chilly out there at the moment. There was some wetter wintry weather across southern parts this morning. That's now clearing away towards the southeast, and otherwise really it is a case of areas exposed to that northerly wind seeing further showers, and these readily falling as snow across parts of northern Scotland, even some parts of northern England. Further south, anything wintry likely to be confined to higher ground. Many inland areas actually staying largely dry, but it is cold for all of us. Temperatures several degrees below average for the time of year, and there's a biting wind as well, which is going to make it feel even colder. Into this evening, and watch out for snow accumulations really building up across the northern half of Scotland as those showers continue to pile in. Drier across central southern parts, clearer skies though to start the night, and through much of the night means it's going to turn really chilly here. Snow showers across parts of Northern Ireland, down the eastern side of England, and some snow showers pushing into parts of Wales and maybe the southwest of England. There will be some showers here. Whether or not any turn wintry, well, that's still to be seen. As we go overnight, the showers continue in areas exposed to that northerly wind, so western coasts, eastern parts, and also the northern half of Scotland. Elsewhere, staying dry with some clear skies, and as a result, temperatures really taking quite a drop. Many places falling several degrees below freezing, could get to negative double figures in the sheltered glens of Scotland. And then tomorrow, really, it's looking quite similar to today, really. The wind will have backed a little bit, so that will change where we see the showers just a touch. They may penetrate a little bit further inland across some parts of northeast England, across the North York moors. We could see snow building up to 15-25 centimetres, perhaps above 100 metres, so some significant disruption here.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you could win your Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akua, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. It is 2 o'clock on Wednesday, the 19th of November. I'm Nana Akua.
And I'm Christopher Hope, and this is GB News.
Now, it was revealed this morning that inflation eases for the first time in 5 months to 3.6% before the crunch budget. Chancellor Rachel Reeves is pleased.
I do recognise that there's more that we need to do to tackle the cost of living challenges, and that's why one of the 3 priorities in my budget next week is to tackle the cost of living.
Elsewhere, a major report from MPs from across all parties warns that Britain is unprepared to defend itself against attacks from renewed threats from Russia and China, as Labour is slammed for moving at a glacial pace.
250,000 people left the UK in the year Labour were elected. We'll look at the reasons why so many of us are ditching the country.
Reduce VAT on private school fees from January 2025.
After that announcement in the last budget, a slew of private schools have faced devastating losses, with some shutting their doors for good. Our national reporter Jack Carson has been investigating.
The UK has been hit by the first snow of the winter. Now, this was the view from Christopher Hope's household, otherwise known as Chopper, this morning. We'd love to get your pictures of what the snowfall looks like around you.
That's right. Do send us your views and posting your comments by going to gbnews.com/your say. Now, perhaps I might get some pictures of snow, because out there in the wilds of Britain, snow is the only topic on WhatsApp groups of our viewers.
True. Up north it is, anyway. As you come down south, the snow is it did start, though, because in Hertfordshire, as you said, where you were, it was snowing, and that is quite south, quite suddenly.
It makes you feel quite festive, but I'm worrying about the cost of our Christmas dinner with food inflation going up.
Oh, God, yes. But, however, inflation has gone down.
Yes, overall, but the bits that matter right now are the food bills, and they'll be going up by 4.9%.
Well, you might say that if it was really cold, though, because the energy prices have gone down a bit, so that's why inflation is not so...
Well, perhaps it's a cure jag, I suppose, but it's worrying. But, the weather, I think, is quite exciting snow, isn't it, Nana? Did it thrill you? We've got a new Jack Russell called Gladys.
Oh, Gladys.
She saw her first snow this morning. She wasn't sure what to do about it and retreated into the house.
You should have put her out in it to see what she did.
I did, but she went it back in. I couldn't stop her.
She probably thought, oh, that looks great.
Yeah.
And she went in and thought, oh, get me out of here.
Yeah, but I think snow is good. I mean, what's great about Britain is we have different, quite varying seasons, don't we? We have hot summers, cold winters.
You could have 4 seasons in one day as well, sometimes in some places. No, but it's lovely, and it made me feel very Christmassy. So don't forget to send us your pictures and your thoughts and comments. gbnews.com/your say. But first, your latest news headlines with Sam Francis.
Chris, Nana, thank you, and good afternoon to you. Just after 2 o'clock, well, a tense Prime Minister's questions today, with Kemi Badenoch taking aim at the government's budget plans and Sir Keir Starmer refusing to be boxed in. The Conservative leader accused Labour of letting next week's budget unravel before it's even been published, demanding the Prime Minister rule out freezing income tax thresholds.
This is the first budget to unravel before it's even been delivered.
The Chancellor's cluelessness, I'm afraid, is damaging the economy now. The Prime Minister needs to end this shambles. So can he confirm today that he won't break another promise by freezing income tax thresholds?
Sir Keir Starmer, though, turned the fire back on the Conservatives. He argued they have no standing to lecture anyone on tax living standards after years of economic turbulence.
What we won't do is inflict austerity on the country as they did. Cause huge. What we won't do is inflict a borrowing spree like Liz Truss did. They left waiting lists at record highs. Almost 1 million more children in poverty, and they wrecked our public services. She comes here to talk down the country. We're turning the page.
The UK must step up in a far more dangerous world. That's the warning from the Defence Secretary John Healey today as he revealed a Russian spy ship is sitting on the edge of UK waters. He says the Yantar, a ship designed to map undersea cables, was tracked by the RAF and Royal Navy and even directed lasers at British pilots. Mr Healey says it's part of a wider surge in global threats, including drone disruptions over Europe, Russian incursions into NATO airspace and more than 90,000 cyber attacks on the UK's defence systems. UK inflation has dipped to its lowest level in 4 months, dropping to 3.6% as easing energy costs take the pressure off of household bills. Economists say the sharper-than-expected fall puts a pre-Christmas rate cut firmly on the table, despite food prices creeping back up, especially bread, cereals and meat. The ONS says slowing gas and electricity rises were the biggest factor behind the drop, even as families still feel the squeeze. Also this afternoon, a landmark Supreme Court ruling has found that the Christian-focused religious education taught in Northern Ireland's controlled primary schools is unlawful. It follows a challenge by non-religious fathers after one of their daughters began praying at home, telling the father, "That's what we do in school." Judges ruled the curriculum isn't objective, critical or pluralistic and backed an earlier High Court decision. It won't mean the end of RE, of hymns or prayers in school, but the system will now have to change. Schools will be required to offer a more balanced approach to faith and belief. The Department of Education had appealed, but the highest court, has now ruled against it. Weather and snow is blanketing parts of the UK today, with freezing conditions causing tricky travel and the risk of delays on the roads. The Met Office has multiple yellow warnings in place for ice and snow and a more severe amber warning kicking in tomorrow. Cold health alerts are also now active across England until Saturday, warning of significant risks for vulnerable people. Authorities are urging everyone to keep warm, to take care on the roads and check in on friends, family and on neighbours. And in the sport, Scotland are heading to their first World Cup in 28 years after a stunning 4-2 win over Denmark at Hampden. Fans flooded the streets as Steve Clarke's side scored twice in stoppage time, sealing top spot and a place in next summer's finals in North America. Scotland's First Minister John Swinney called it a joy to watch, and manager Steve Clarke praised the fantastic Tartan Army, saying the crowd could smell magic as Scotland made history.
Feels good. I said at the start of the campaign, I felt the pressure of the nation to try to get to World Cup. So immediately that falls off your shoulders and you feel a little bit better. But what a fantastic group of players. Never give up. I've said it for a long time now about how good they are and how determined they are to be good for their country. They showed that tonight. I couldn't be happier for my players. I couldn't be happier. It's fantastic. It feels great.
That is the news on GB News. I'll be back in half an hour. Next, though, a look at the markets.
Cheers Britannia Wine Club proudly sponsors the GB News Financial Report.
Just gone 8 minutes past 2. The headlines, the markets for you, rather. The pound will buy you $1.3126 and €1.1328. The price of gold is £3,132 and 11 pence. That's per ounce. And the FTSE 100 is at 9,540 points.
Cheers Britannia Wine Club proudly sponsors the GB News Financial Report.
Good afternoon, Britain. Now, we are 1 week away from the long-awaited budget, and inflation has fallen to 3.6%.
That's right. A bit of good news for Chancellor Rachel Reeves after an 18-month high of inflation in September of 3.8%.
And the budget was on everyone's mind at PMQs earlier today, as Keir Starmer was quick to hit back at Kemi Badenoch's questions.
Won't do is inflict austerity on the country as they did. Cause huge. What we won't do is inflict a borrowing spree like Liz Truss did, also inflicted huge damage. Mr. Speaker, have they learnt anything? She's apparently got a golden economic rule, I think. So it's a very important rule, this golden rule. That there's this £47 billion of cuts with no detail. No wonder the Institute of Government says they're on very shaky foundations. They haven't listened and they haven't learned.
We're joined now by the economics editor of The Spectator magazine, Michael Simmons. Michael, why is falling inflation good news for people?
Well, it's good news for people with mortgages, for example, because we're going to have another meeting before Christmas of the Bank of England's Monetary Policy Committee, and this might encourage them to cut interest rates, which will, will help any homeowners. It'll help the Chancellor a bit as well, because hopefully it will bring down the staggering costs we have to pay servicing our debt. But it's a bit of a mixed bag, right? Because even though it's come down a little bit, you've got food inflation going up, and we're still an outlier compared to Europe, where inflation's coming down a lot quicker. So it's good news, but it could be better, I'd say.
So, look, earlier we spoke to a lady called Caitlin Boswell. Now, she was saying, because a lot of people are not liking the direction the Chancellor is going, and particularly the wealthy, because she's taxing and taxing and taxing.
Sure.
And they are looking to tax unearned income, she called it. And Caitlin was of the impression that these people, these wealthy people, these middle to high earners and the super wealthy aren't leaving this country, and that the figures don't reflect that. What is the truth? What is the reality?
I mean, I think categorically they are. People quibble with some of the kind of...
So they are leaving?
They are leaving, they are, yeah. People quibble with some of the survey-based data that's been, used this year, but we had revisions from the ONS to their net migration figures yesterday, and part of that's a change where instead of using survey data, they're looking at visas, they're looking at tax receipts, and they can see that more people are leaving the country than previously thought, and not just the rich. This is young people as well. But you get it anecdotally too. I mean, I've been speaking to wealth managers, people that represent these very wealthy taxpayers who, by the way, do pay a massive chunk of tax. And some of them have complained that they've lost all their clients. So, you can just look around. It is definitely happening. And I think we've got more and more data that supports that.
And who's to blame for that, Michael? I mean, is it the politics? Is it the fact that Labour won a landslide majority last July? They've ramped up taxes last November. We're expecting that next week. Is that the problem here, or are there other factors at play too? Well,
I think if you look at the very wealthy people leaving, this is actually something that was started under the last government. They started to crack down on non-doms, and then Rachel Reeves has taken that further. And now with all this briefing that there might be further taxes on wealth, that they are going to pay even more, that's pushing people away. But it's now not just the wealthy going, it's young people too, in quite large amounts. And I think that's not just directly politics that makes things worse. It's just the general feeling that this country is kind of stuck economically. We're not growing. Yes, inflation has come down today, but it's still, the highest out of major economies. And people, I think, just think, let's give it a chance somewhere else.
Well, Rachel Reeves seems to think that if she was to leave as Chancellor, then it would cause a crash in the markets, because she said, remember what happened last time? Remember when she was in tears? Well, that didn't help. But would the markets actually be glad if she left?
I actually have some sympathy for Reeves here, because I think the markets think that anyone that would come in behind her would be even less likely to bring down our spending, which is the thing they're really concerned about. But they don't actually care who the Chancellor is. What they're worried about is the Labour backbenchers. The markets freaked out when the government U-turned on winter fuel and the cuts to the welfare benefits bill. And they just think it doesn't really matter who the Chancellor is, because no one's going to be able to get through, serious fiscal reforms.
Michael Simmons, you're the economics editor at The Spectator. What's in the budget next week, then? I asked that. I mean, we have heard lots of hints, haven't we, at PMQs there, about tax thresholds for income tax being frozen again, despite the fact that the implication was that wouldn't happen at last year's budget. But there might be some playing around with how we support private pensions through employment, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that the threshold being at least frozen is inevitable. That will get her something like £10 £1 billion. And this is clearly playing into a Treasury strategy where they just want to inflate away things like the personal allowance so that you would drag even more people into paying tax. If she had gone for what was originally briefed, that they'd increase the basic rate, that might have helped the inflation problem just because it would have tackled people's spending power a bit. But this smorgasbord approach that we're now hearing about, where it'll be lots of little things like the milkshake tax, could actually send prices rising again. So I'd be looking out for that next week.
Very sneakily, I shouldn't do this, but we've got about a minute left. And what about the effect of her VAT raid on private schools? What has that done?
Yeah, well, I think that we're still sort of waiting for more and more evidence to get the clearer picture on this, but it's pretty clear that less people, that maybe middle-class people or lower-middle-class people who are on the threshold of affordability are now deciding that they can't send their kids to these schools.
Michael Simmons, economics editor for The Spectator, thank you for joining us tonight on Good Afternoon Britain.
Right, thank you so much. Right, as I've just gone 14 minutes after 2 o'clock, and net migration in the UK last year was 20% lower than previously thought.
But revised figures from the Office for National Statistics show 257,000 British nationals left the UK in the year ending December 2024. That's 3 times the previous estimate of just 77,000.
Now, one person who's left the UK is businessman Alfie Best, and he joins us now. Alfie, welcome to the programme. Really good to talk to you. So, Alfie, talk to me about this. Have you left the country, and what are people like you saying about what's going on in the UK economically?
Well, I'm seeing it obviously from a different view now because I'm outside the UK looking in. And it seems like a horror story that's just getting to a sequel because they're not supporting business. And worst of all, they're not supporting the middle-class workers in the UK. They seem to be filtering through taxes to see what the responses are in the budget before we've even had the budget to see what the responses are. And I believe they're doing that to see how the reception is of the general public.
Why did you leave, Alfie? I mean, you've done very well for yourself. Why not hang around here and let your tax money benefit us all us Brits?
I never ever wanted to leave the UK. I left through persecution and what I concede as being vexatiously taxation on me. And I saw that the way the UK was going. And until we have a forward-thinking government that realises that our great country is great, but we just seem to be great for the rest of the world because we're feeding the rest of the world, but persecuting the people that are British, that have done so much for Britain, as well as for they're not looking after the actual now general public overall. I left because I was forced to leave.
Good point. Even if you were being taxed and they were spending it wisely, would be good. But it seems as though they are wasting the money on inefficient schemes, a £52 million road in the Amazon, when they're talking about climate change that goes nowhere. I mean, is this all part of it? They seem to be wasting money. If this were you running the country, what would you be doing in terms of tax?
Look, in my view, and I'm certainly not qualified to run the country, I'm a humble businessman, and that's what I do best. I believe that everybody in life is a genius and everybody in life is an idiot. You just have to find what you're a genius at. We have a Prime Minister at the minute who is a genius. He's a genius as a civil rights lawyer. He's just not a genius as a Prime Minister. And I'm sorry to say, none of their cabinet has been in work, been in business. And unless you know exactly what a cash flow looks like, and they certainly don't, because they're the only government that I've seen that gives away more to foreign aid than any other government in history. And that's a fact.
Alfie, you've moved now to Monte Carlo. What would bring you back to the UK? Setting aside which party's in charge, what policies would the next government need to do to bring Alfie Best back to the UK?
I think it's about trust and the damage that has been done. And I'll be brutally honest with you, it started with the Conservatives and led through and followed by Labour government. And that's not me criticising any government. It's criticising the policies that were put in place. The damage that has been done trust-wise to our great country has sent business leaders and business titans outside of our country to more welcoming shores. And these are not digital nomads. These are people like Mattel, where we're now having to buy our steel elsewhere. He didn't only leave himself, he left with 100 of his
I'm just trying to ask Alfie what you want to see from the next government of whichever stripe to bring you back to the UK. What do you want to see? What policies? What's in your manifesto?
Show trust within our business. Make our country great by welcoming business. Support the people, support the businesses. Don't punish them. When you get a speeding fine, you get a speeding fine, which is a tax for driving badly. When you get taxed, you get taxed for doing a great job. And that tax then gets rewarded to others that are doing a bad job.
All right, Alfie, Bess, really good to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking time out in Monte Carlo.
Oh,
I don't blame him.
Nice and warm there.
If I could afford it, I'll be out there
It's
too.
time for the Great British Giveaway now. And there's 2 weeks left to grab your chance to enjoy Christmas on us. That's £40,000 in tax-free cash. Shopping vouchers and a GB News festive goodie bag too. Make sure you don't miss out. Here's all the details that you need to enter.
It's just 2 weeks left to see how you could win your Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash so you can have a brilliant new year. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, the decorations, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. And the best news? You'll get it all in time for the big day. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 8th of December. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck indeed. This is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Lots more coming up on today's show.
As 50 private schools have shut down for good following last year's budget, our national reporter Jack Carson has been meeting those hit by the closures. But after the break...
As a new report says that the UK lacks a plan to defend itself and a Russian spy ship is currently on the edge of British waters. How worried should we be?
All of that and more to come if you're with GB News with Chris and Nana, Britain's news channel. It's Britain's #1 channel too.
News channel. Last time.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health, Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What we're going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's just coming up to 25 minutes after 2 o'clock. And as ever, we love to get your thoughts, your comments. gbnews.com/your say.
Claire writes on Your Say, what a treat. Chopper's podcast and Nana's Weekend Show are two of my favourite things on GB News.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for that.
And of course, there is a brand new way to take part in the conversation by becoming a friend of GB News for free. Take a listen.
Join the community and be part of our shows by becoming a friend of GB News. Get a direct line to join the conversations that you hear us talking about every day in our programmes by commenting on Your Say and voting in You Decide polls. Access opinion, analysis and behind-the-scenes videos as we share more from the stories that you see on TV and radio. Plus, watch our shows live and on catch-up anywhere, anytime. If you love our channel, become a friend of GB News for free by scanning the QR code or going to gbnews.com/friend. Don't just watch our programmes, come and be a part of them.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Are you a friend yet?
I'm a friend. I'm a big friend of GB News. I'm their biggest fan. Yes.
Now, a new report has warned that Britain is not ready to defend itself from attack as threats from China and Russia continue to grow.
The Commons Defence Committee said that Labour was moving at a glacial pace and failing to meet its NATO defence obligations to maintain the UK's capacity to resist an armed attack, with the committee's chairman warning MPs that they could not bury their heads in the sand.
We're joined now by the former NATO commander, Rear Admiral Chris Parry. Rear Admiral Parry, thank you for joining us on GB News. Is this a real warning or is it MPs crying wolf?
Well, to tell you the truth, it's one of a long series of warnings. Some of us have been warning about this probably the last 5 to 8 years. And every time one of these reports comes up, everybody gives it a stiff ignoring. The fact of life is the United Kingdom is wide open to the sort of attacks that are possible today. I'll just give you one example. We have no defence against drone attacks in this country. The same drones that are attacking Ukraine are appearing around Poland and Denmark and places like that. And unless we get real about it, we're not going to be able to confront these threats.
Do you know what, Chris? I could have seen this anyway. And like you, I mean, I look at it and I think, well, we're giving away weapons to Ukraine. Let's give you some of this and some of that. And we're depleting our armed forces. When you see Israel under attack, they have the Iron Dome. They're all set. They've got a national service. They've got an infrastructure to protect them from war. We have nothing.
Well, no, the thing is, there are a number of issues. One is the fact that obviously Israel's quite small, so you can actually protect it. We're a bit larger than that, so we'd have great difficulties in providing any sort of coverage. That's the first thing. Secondly, Israel is in a permanent state of war against its neighbours. They don't have NATO as part of their defensive structure. And in the past, we've relied on NATO to deal with threats that, are dealt with much before they come to our shores. The final thing is we're trying to fight a 21st century conflict scenario with 20th century tools and thinking, and it hasn't come up to date. If I can tell you, I wrote a book in 2014 about how warfare needed to be conducted in 2025, and not one element of that book has actually been implemented in the meantime. And that included things like drones, it included things like cyber and space warfare, and it seems to me that we're always trying to perfect the last day of the previous war and not prepare for the first day of the next one.
Chris Parry, the report warns about engaging the public in defence. Do you think we need to bring back national service? It was a policy pushed by the Tories at the last election and fell away when they didn't win power. But is it time to try and get our young people army ready, match fit for an invasion?
Well, no, it's not a question of an invasion. It's a question of the fact that what foreign power, and right now it's Russia that we're looking at, but it will be China later, can put all sorts of pressure on our population and our infrastructure, right up to the point of what we call kinetic attack, which is, blowing things up. And of course, it destroys our infrastructure. It breaks down what we try and achieve in a modern society, and it frightens people. So give an example. We've seen Russian merchant ships launching drones against some of the Western countries. We've got an intelligence gathering vessel called the Yantar that's actually used lasers against some of the pilots that are following it at the moment. And what people don't realise is we're in a low level of war with Russia at the moment because they don't like us supporting Ukraine. So they're trying to put pressure on our infrastructure and our people. The fact of life is, in terms of an invasion, we are the country that is furthest, apart from Ireland, from any really serious land threat. We've got the best tank trap in Europe in the English Channel, but what we don't have is any sort of air defence against drones or cruise and ballistic missile attacks. They can be fired from submarines all around the United Kingdom. And as you say, we don't have a public that is attuned to the idea that maybe they might get attacked. I live in Portsmouth, and the town planning, frankly, was done by the Luftwaffe in the Second World War. We're not ready for that sort of thing, and neither is our infrastructure. It's wide open to cyber attack, laser attack, sabotage, all these sorts of things. And unless we engage with the public, we're soon going to see attacks not just by hostile states, but by terrorists and criminals who, frankly, will say, look, this is way too easy. We can jam communications. We can launch drones against, for example, airfields. You're showing one now, for example, our naval bases and our military structures. They can also go for our communications and infrastructure, our energy grids and things like that. It's wide open, to tell you the truth.
Well, we're wide open. I'd agree with you. One of the points you made, the we're furthest away, but I think sometimes, what in terms of nuclear attack, though? Can Russia's nuclear missiles reach us? Of course, for them, we'd be far away, which would mean that the fallout would possibly not reach them. So that's one of the things. The other thing is, we talk about threats. What about our borders? They're porous, so it would be easy for someone to infiltrate us just via dinghies and all the other things that are coming through.
Yeah, OK. I mean, if we wanted to stop the dinghies with force, then we could. So if we're going to get invaded, then we can deal with that. Of course we can. But you're right. We've got totally porous borders. We don't know who's coming across. But no, in terms of nuclear weapons, nobody wins in a nuclear war. And Russia knows that even at this minute, we have a Trident ballistic missile submarine sitting somewhere in the North Atlantic, which can devastate up to 20 of their cities if they even dare put a nuclear device anywhere near us. And frankly, it's the best system. Trident is one of the best systems in the world, and it costs us less than the price of home insurance per capita to have that in place.
Does it not rely on America or something else, though? Doesn't it rely on other states to operate?
No. It's rather like you hiring a car, to tell you the truth. It's got a British warhead on it. The missiles themselves, you're right, are made in America, but once they're in the submarine, they're yours to use, and it has no reliance on America whatsoever. And as long as we've got that guarantee in place, it's an independent nuclear deterrent, just like France has. And aren't we glad we put it right now?
Yeah,
well, former Navy Commander Rear Admiral Chris Parry, thank you for joining us today on Good Afternoon Britain.
Yes, 32 minutes after 2 o'clock. This is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Lots more coming up on today's show.
As a restaurant Mayfair bans phones at the table, we'll be asking, is smartphones ruining the dining experience?
All of that and much more after your latest news headlines. with Sam Francis.
Very good afternoon. Just after 2:30, the top story this hour. The UK must step up to a more dangerous world, John Healey says, revealing a Russian spy ship has been sitting on the edge of UK waters. The Yantar, designed to map undersea cables, allegedly shone lasers at RAF pilots amid rising incursions, drone disruptions and 90,000 cyber attacks on UK systems. Inflation has dipped to 3.6%, the last reading before next week's budget. Rachel Reeves says it's good news, but the Conservatives accuse Labour of fuelling higher prices. Meanwhile, opposition parties and campaign groups are urging Rachel Reeves to target the wealthy instead of broad tax rises in her budget. The Chancellor's reportedly considering higher property taxes on the most valuable homes. The UK Supreme Court has ruled that Christian-focused religious education in Northern Ireland schools is unlawful. Justices upheld a father and daughter's challenge, saying the current syllabus breaches human rights by failing to be objective, critical or pluralist. The death toll in Ukraine has risen to at least 19 after one of Russia's deadliest attacks in months. Ukraine says more than 470 drones and 47 missiles caused fires and mass casualties as Zelensky heads to Turkey for fresh peace talks. And Scotland are heading to the first World Cup in 28 years for them as a dramatic 4-2 win over Denmark. Captain Andy Robertson called it one of the greatest nights of his life. Wales, meanwhile, keep their hopes alive after smashing North Macedonia 7-1. Those are the headlines. A full roundup from Tatiana Sanchez at 3.
You can now watch GB News live across the United States of America and the world on Truth Plus. Scan the QR code to find out more or visit gbnews.com/truth.
Thank you, Sam. Lots more coming up on the show.
Yes, up next, as 50 private schools shut their doors, our national reporter Jack Carson has been speaking to a head teacher about the toll it has taken on her.
All of that more to come. You're on GB News. What are we, Nana?
Britain's #1 news channel.
That's right. Stay tuned.
Hello again, very good day to you. This is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. More wintry weather to come as we go through the rest of today and also into tomorrow. Plenty of snow showers in areas exposed to some brisk northerly winds which are dragging Arctic air across us. No wonder it is so chilly out there at the moment. There was some wetter wintry weather across southern parts this morning. That's now clearing away towards the southeast, and otherwise really it is a case of areas exposed to that northerly wind seeing further showers, and these readily falling as snow across parts of northern Scotland, even some parts of northern England. Further south, anything wintry likely to be confined to higher ground. Many inland areas actually staying largely dry, but it is cold for all of us. Temperatures several degrees below average for the time of year, and there's a biting wind as well, which is going to make it feel even colder. Into this evening, and watch out for snow accumulations really building up across the northern half of Scotland as those showers continue to pile in. Drier across central southern parts, clearer skies though to start the night, and through much of the night means it's going to turn really chilly here. Snow showers across parts of Northern Ireland, down the eastern side of England, and some snow showers pushing into parts of Wales and maybe the southwest of England. There will be some showers here. Whether or not any turn wintry, well, that's still to be seen. As we go overnight, the showers continue in areas exposed to that northerly wind, so western coasts, eastern parts, and also the northern half of Scotland. Elsewhere, staying dry with some clear skies, and as a result, temperatures really taking quite a drop. Many places falling several degrees below freezing, could get to negative double figures in the sheltered glens of Scotland. And then tomorrow, really, it's looking quite similar to today, really. The wind will have backed a little bit, so that will change where we see the showers just a touch. They may penetrate a little bit further inland across some parts of northeast England, across the North York Moors. We could see snow building up to 15-25 centimetres, perhaps above 100 metres, so some significant disruption here.
Thank you, Britain, for helping us reach 8 million followers across social media. Thank you for making us a part of your daily life.
Good afternoon, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Adverse weather has closed the A939 at the Snowgate near Tomintoul. On the A55, both directions have a speed limit of 30 miles per hour on Britannia Bridge until further notice. In Cheshire West and Chester, the M6 southbound has a breakdown, closing one of 4 lanes between junction 18 and junction 17. In Surrey, a broken-down vehicle on the M25 anti-clockwise between junction 6 and junction 5 is causing a single-lane closure. And on the trains, northern buses are taking over routes between Corkickle and Whitehaven, while southern services face no trains between Crowborough and Uckfield. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
More than 50 private schools have closed since the government removed their VAT exemption in last year's budget. And now the former head teacher of one of those schools has told us at GB News the government has taken away parents' choice. Our national reporter Jack Carson has the story.
Families who just want the best for their children, and that's who it's really hit the hardest, and it's just so sad.
Hayley Bowen is just one of more than 50 private school head teachers who have closed their doors since VAT changes came into effect in January. Announced in the last budget, the Chancellor Rachel Reeves said the plans would raise £1.5 billion.
To provide the highest quality of support and teaching that they deserve, we will introduce VAT on private school fees from January 2025. And we will shortly introduce legislation to remove their business rates relief from April 2025 too.
For the King Alfred School in Dudley, the change was too much, and in August, head teacher Hayley announced their immediate closure.
It was completely and utterly devastating because we were just about to purchase a bigger building for our school and expand into secondary education. This school was really set up to recover a really robust traditional education, to pass on all the best of our culture, the best that has been thought, said and done down through the ages, to go from that kind of momentum to then VAT coming in, and we lost 50% of our children in that final year. It was then not feasible.
The school was said to be the flagship for classical education in the UK at a price affordable for working parents. Back in January, GB News visited the school to see how children were taught a curriculum which celebrated history, philosophy and Christianity from an early age, values which the former head teacher feels are not a priority for the government.
It seems to be that they are providing more and more of what I would call like the basic parenting aspects of school, rather than really striving for robust and strong academics. Our school was quite different in the fact that it was pens and paper and the teacher teaching at the front, and I think that a lot of people wanted that. I think they were sick of their children being glued to devices.
The school was part of the Classical British Education Group, who aim to create a network of schools. For now, there's still hope the King Alfred School can open its playground once again.
We never wanted to close the school. It took us the best part of 10 years in trying to develop this, piloting the return to a traditional type of education. The way the systems are with the Department for Education and Ofsted and all the hoops that you have to jump through to comply, they almost make it like it's not worth doing.
Labour says the change to VAT on fees will help fund 6,500 new teachers and boost state education. But for this school, the books stay closed. Jack Carson, GB News, Dudley.
Yeah, 6,500 teachers, but think how many teachers have just been unemployed with 50 of the private schools shutting. I mean, it's just absurd. It's a nonsense idea, I think, Christopher. But joining us now is parent Anna Boulter. Anna, a lot of us looking at this policy just to raise, I think it was 1.6 billion, if the numbers added up, but of course it's a variable that the Labour government cannot control. So I doubt they've raised that. Where are you with this story, and what are your thoughts on what's happened?
Well, if you look at what's happening in Scotland at the minute, we're seeing being played out that the policy isn't working, and in fact it's going to cost the Treasury. So Scotland are a breadth away from reaching the maximum amount of children that can leave before it starts costing the Treasury, and England's not far behind. Something that I wanted to pick up on in this is that we're looking at asking the parents of children in the independent sector to effectively pay for the state sector improvements, but we're missing the point of where the wealth is. So if we look at the richest households in the UK, in the top 10% of the income bracket, 2/3 of those children go to state schools. So if you're looking where you want to get that money from, you're looking in the wrong place. And as has been proven, it's not the independent sector. You've just cited one school that lost 50% of their pupils sort of overnight. If we look at what's happening, we've lost tens of thousands of children who have gone into a state sector, and the state sector cannot accommodate them. It doesn't have the funding for them, it doesn't have the teachers.
Annie, you say that, but of course, Bridget Phillipson, the Education Secretary, she says the money is going back into providing more places in classrooms for state schools.
Well, to quote Bridget Phillipson, I don't accept that. She needs to speak to her boss, who told us all that it was going into social housing. Where is this money? Where are the teachers? Somebody show me where the teachers are. We lose 40,000 teachers a year. I have not seen a massive teacher recruitment drive where the 6,500 promised have gone into school. They're nowhere near. All we're doing is handing out soggy breakfast, saying they're free, and we've asked children from a different education system to fund white bread and margarine. And ultimately, that's what it comes down to. None of the improvements that Bridget Phillipson said would happen from VAT on education are even close, because the money isn't going into education. It's going to social housing. We haven't got the figures yet to say whether it's actually raised anything. And if we're looking at what the schools are telling us and the amount of schools that are closing, there can be no revenue because too many children have left.
Well, of course, those 6,500 new teachers was over across the Parliament, wasn't it? So if you work out how many teachers have probably just been unemployed right now from the schools closing, then we're probably getting ready to average the amount they're losing. What do you think that needs to be done? Because now the schools have shut. You can't just then say, oh, well, we're sorry about that, we'll change it back. It's, you know...
Well, and this is the problem. I mean, children's educations have been ruined, and that's the end for a lot of children in the community. I think they can reverse this. I think they should reverse this. I think in the meantime, they need to be having some really serious conversations with the state schools who are trying to accommodate these children as to how they can do that. We've heard that 2 state schools in the Northwest have closed because of falling birth numbers. Well, if you've got this influx of children coming from the independent sector, why are you closing schools? You need to open them. You need to be giving them somewhere to go. So yes. I think there's a lot of conversations to be had, but I wouldn't be having any of them with Bridget Phillipson because she has got the first idea about educational children. Okay. She's simply trying to climb up her ladder.
Well, she would definitely dispute that, but you made your point there, Anna Bolter.
She might not.
Thank you very much. This is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Lots more coming up on today's show.
Yes, please do keep sending the pictures of snow where you are. This was the view from outside Chopper's house, wasn't it, this morning?
That's right. And we'll soon, very shortly, our very own Anna Riley has found a snowy scene.
Yes. But if you're looking to escape the snow and perhaps find somewhere a bit more sunny, then here are the top European holiday destinations.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
If you're looking to escape the cold weather in the UK, your best bet is Greece, where it will be warmer than average, albeit with some heavy showers. Cold, meanwhile, across Iberia, and that's because the same northerly winds affecting the UK over the next few days will bring colder than average weather to Spain, to Portugal. Just 9 degrees there in Barcelona. A band of rain through the Balearics into Italy, as well as parts of Greece. This actually intensifies during Friday and the weekend with some very wet weather across Central Europe.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is-
you're
the failure is-
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Now, as many of you know already, the UK has been hit with its first cold snap of the winter season, with many areas in Scotland and the north and even Hertfordshire, where I live, gripped by snow and ice.
Joining us now to tell us more about the conditions in Cumbria is our Yorkshire and Humberside reporter, Anna Riley. Anna, what's she doing? Anna Riley, wow.
Good afternoon to you both. It's chilly here, I can tell you that. It's -2 degrees at the moment. We're just on the border of Cumbria and the North York Moors, where you can see the snow is just encompassed around us here. It comes as the Met Office has issued yellow warnings for snow and ice across parts of England, Scotland, Wales and all of Northern Ireland. There's an amber snow warning as well that will take effect in the northeast tomorrow. It's going to remain cold and further snow showers are expected across the next couple of days. The Met Office has said that the wintry weather could create some particularly tricky travel conditions. That actually happened to the cameraman and I today. We were trying to head just over there, just a little bit further up these moors, and we got stuck in some black ice and had to retreat. Gritters are out and about in force. You can see parts of the road here are clear, but in more remote areas like we are now, it is still tricky with those travel conditions. Dozens of schools as well have been closed in northern Scotland with travel warnings in place, while there's widespread patchy ice as well across Wales, as well as the number of weather alerts that have been put in place as well. As a Met Office weather warning, the UK Health and Security Agency has issued cold weather alerts for England, and an amber alert came into effect on Monday, and that's due to last until Sunday morning for Yorkshire and the Humber and areas in the north, and the rest of England will be under a yellow alert during the same period. Now with that, the UK Health Security Agency says it's vital to check on friends, family members, neighbours that are most vulnerable. The Met Office have said that by the end of Thursday, as much as 15 to 25 centimetres of snow could accumulate on hills above 100 metres elevation, so places like we are now, which is likely to cause substantial disruption and power cuts as well. So that's where we're at on the ground at the moment today, with more heavy snow coming in some areas tomorrow, but it's due to clear by Friday, so stay wrapped up and warm.
Wow, Anna Riley, thank you very much. It looks like you're about to fall off the edge, so wherever you are, get back on the road, because that doesn't look safe.
I would love to be there, marching over those moors. Very, very jealous
Life on the edge, Kev, you don't fall off.
I've really enjoyed my time with Nana.
It's been
I
wonderful
love being with
you.
Nana Akua today. Thank you for watching us on GBN. Good morning, Britain.
Yes, good afternoon, Britain, either. Listen, I'll be back on Saturday. Remember, 3 o'clock, be there, be square. Up next.
It's Martin.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again, very good day to you. This is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. More wintry weather to come as we go through the rest of today and also into tomorrow. Plenty of snow showers in areas exposed to some brisk northerly winds which are dragging Arctic air across us. No wonder it is so chilly out there at the moment. There was some wetter wintry weather across southern parts this morning. That's now clearing away towards the southeast, and otherwise really it is a case of areas exposed to that northerly wind seeing further showers, and these readily falling as snow across parts of northern Scotland, even some parts of northern England. Further south, anything wintry likely to be confined to higher ground. Many inland areas actually staying largely dry, but it is cold for all of us. Temperatures several degrees below average for the time of year, and there's a biting wind as well, which is going to make it feel even colder. Into this evening, and watch out for snow accumulations really building up across the northern half of Scotland as those showers continue to pile in. Drier across central southern parts, clearer skies though to start the night, and through much of the night means it's going to turn really chilly here. Snow showers across parts of Northern Ireland, down the eastern side of England, and some snow showers pushing into parts of Wales and maybe the southwest of England. There will be some showers here. Whether or not any turn wintry, well, that's still to be seen. As we go overnight, the showers continue in areas exposed to that northerly wind, so western coasts, eastern parts, and also the northern half of Scotland. Elsewhere, staying dry with some clear skies, and as a result, temperatures really taking quite a drop. Many places falling several degrees below freezing, could get to negative double figures in the sheltered glens of Scotland. And then tomorrow, really, it's looking quite similar to today, really. The wind will have backed a little bit, so that will change where we see the showers just a touch. They may penetrate a little bit further inland across some parts of northeast England, across the North York Moors. We could see snow building up to 15-25 centimetres, perhaps above 100 metres, so some significant disruption here.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you could win your Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
A really important thing about GB News, and it's brought something completely different to the landscape.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
Journalism in this country has been a cosy world full of groupthink until now.
Well, the reality is that most British journalists are afraid. That's not GB News.
Journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
We're here to talk about things in a way that have never been broadcast on British airways before.
Do not miss a moment on GB News.
The #1 news channel in the country.
Good evening, it's 3 p.m. and welcome to the Daubney Show. Martin Daubney Show on GB News with me, Chopper, until he gets here. Now, broadcasting live across the UK with our very latest news and debate and analysis until 6